Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another Master Grade Gundam review, and this is no standard Master Grade. As you can tell from that box right here, this is a Verka. The absolutely ridiculously cool looking Wing Gundam Zero Custom, or in this case the Wing Gundam Zero EW, is without a doubt one of the most iconic looking mobile suits ever, and to me this is a very special one because the Master Grade Wing Gundam Zero Custom from 2004 was the first ever gunpla I ever built. And at first glance this kit might look very similar to that 16-year-old kit, but that is definitely not the case. At a glance they look similar, but that is it. Well, technically the beam sabers are the same, but otherwise, this is a brand new, built from the ground up kit for this year, and it is absolutely fantastic. Also, if you have not seen the unboxing yet, you can check that out, and thank you to each and every one of you guys who asked a question in that video that you want answered in this review. But anyway, as always, if you do want one of these of your own or for any of your gunpla needs, just check out that link down there in the description because this video would not have been possible without those awesome people over at HobbyLink Japan. Now here we go. So getting right on into it, and here is the Master Grade Wing Gundam Zero EW Verka out of the box and just snapped together. Before I get into anything at all, I will mention the one issue I had with this kit, and there was only one. That is that this chest vent right here would not stay in. No matter what I did, this little devil of a piece kept falling out. So I'm gonna have to actually cement this in for the review. I left it out right now because I will forget to mention it later on if I do cement it in too soon. So if you have this kit or you get this kit, drop it down there in the comments. Was yours loose or not? Or is this just some kind of once-off anomaly? But anyway, let's continue. Now that that is cemented in there and is going nowhere, this thing is absolute perfection. I am so impressed. The proportions are amazing. This thing looks beautiful. This silhouette is that absolutely iconic Wing Gundam Zero we saw in the movie Endless Waltz. I've always felt the other variants of this kit never captured that magical glory of probably one of the most over-the-top mobile suits ever. The plastic looks fantastic, it's great to work with, it all has a sort of glossy or semi-gloss vibe which really adds to the regal look of this particular mobile suit. The blue is separated into two shades, that is a darker blue and a lighter blue. That looks fantastic. I am so happy to say, unlike the 16-year-old kit, there is no rubber feathers in here. Rubber feathers fall off, rubber feathers turn yellow, and rubber feathers suck. These are plastic and these look beautiful. All the surfaces on this kit are ridiculously beautiful to look at. The panel separation on this is fantastic. In the sections where the parts aren't fully separated, we've got some really classy pin stripe, super fine panel lines. But what really blows me away is the almost three-dimensional look of every part. This is a layered, fantastic looking structure. Parts on top of parts on top of parts, with the inner frame showing through, breaking up a lot of that white. This looks beautiful. On top of that, a lot of the chest and other areas have some super nice subtle beveling, so it doesn't look too square and it still looks somewhat organic. Speaking of organic, the wings on this look fantastic. They look flowing, they look perfect, and once again, look like they flew right on out of that classic movie. So my only minor complaint with this kit is the fact that for the clear parts, they didn't include the option of some green ones as well. Colorless are great from a customizing perspective because you can paint them whatever color you want, but I do feel the just popping a clear piece over a foil green sticker does look a little bit on the cheap side. And even worse is the fact that the only out-of-box color accurate build you can make with this is by slapping these foil stickers over the rest of the cameras and clear parts. That really does cheapen the overall look of the kit, I do feel, and is not something I'd like to see in a Verka kit in 2020. But hey, all you need is some clear green paint, and you're good to go. But honestly, once again, whether these parts are colorless clear or green clear, it really does come down to your own personal taste. So here's an example of what clear green parts look like in the Proto Zero, so that's how it is out of box. And here's what this kit looks like, which is a clear part over a sticker. So this might give you a bit of an idea whether or not you might want to buy yourself some clear paint with this kit, or just leave it as it is out of box. But on the whole, this thing looks fantastic, and even though I don't give numerical scores for different aspects of the kits anymore, for aesthetics, I would give this a 12 out of 10. It's that beautiful. But now it's question time! So I asked you guys in the unboxing what you'd like to see in this review, and the main thing you guys asked for is for some comparisons, so here we go. First up, there is a direct size comparison to the 2004 version. There it is next to the high resolution version of this particular mobile suit, which looks good, feels not so good. There it is side by side with the Master Grade Proto Zero. There it is side by side with the Master Grade Ultron, a mobile suit it fights in the movie. And finally, there it is beside the real grade version of the exact same mobile suit. I do not have the high grade, so I do not have that for a comparison. And as for some general size comparisons, there it is beside a normal sized Gundam, a small sized Gundam, and a fairly large sized Gundam. So we're gonna do those comparisons all one more time, but this time with the full 360-degree spin, so you can see every angle of these kits, so you can make up your own decision on which you prefer, and I'll just drop a little bit of a commentary. Of course, always on the left is the kit we're talking about today, which is the Master Grade Wing Gundam Zero EW Verka, and everything else will be on the right. And first up, of course, is the 2004 version of this particular mobile suit. This is a lot simpler, but there's nothing necessarily wrong with the kit. It does not have any full inner frame or anything like that, so it is very simplistic in comparison, but for its time, it's very nice. The only real issue I have is the feathers like to fall off all the time because they're rubber, so none of these are original. And speaking of original, I have had this for probably the full 16 years it's been out, so all that dust, that manky yellow patina on the nub marks, that doesn't come as standard. That's earned. But yeah, pretty much goes without saying that the Verka trounces this in every aspect. But nostalgia! Next up there on the right, this is the high-resolution model version of the exact same mobile suit. So just in case you don't know what a high-resolution model is, this is an action figure on the outside, model kit built up around it on the outside, and they tend to have a visual redesign of the mobile suit that they're based upon. That's why this is quite different looking, and honestly, it's ridiculously beautiful. Beautiful to look at, not so beautiful to touch. This thing sheds more parts than my dogs shed hair, and as you can tell from a lot of my videos, they shed a lot of hair. This thing sheds more parts. I lost a whole bunch just trying to get it standing on this spinning turntable, and yes, this is the best standing pose I could get it into. It does look beautiful once again, but if you do want to get this and build this, I highly recommend bringing a lot of glue, because out of the box, it is a bit of a nightmare. So next up here on the right is the Master Grade Proto Zero. So I know what you're going to ask, which is usually the question I'm asked quite a bit, and that is, where's that yellow piece off the wing and where's that thruster off the back? This is one of those kits I've had since Japan, so it was shipped over from Japan, got knocked around a bit, and I have those parts somewhere in a big box full of loose parts, and I've never gotten around to it. Anyway, as for the comment, this was, until the Verka that I'm looking at right now came out, my favorite version of wing in Master Grade. It's solid, reliable, looks nice, and out of all the different variants of wing that was available in Master Grade, this one fit in with the rest of the Endless Waltz line extremely well. But of course now it has been completely outclassed by the Verka right here, but of course it is a completely different variation of the same mobile suit, but you know, it's not directly comparable, but there it is anyway. So there's a bit of a comparison side by side with the Heavy Arms EW. This is just to show it side by side with one of the other Master Grade Endless Waltz kits that is available. These are a lot older, but they still hold up so well. These are good kits. Visually they are quite different. The Verka has so much exterior detail, it's really tall, slender. It is definitely a lot more fancy than these are, but it will still fit in quite well, I think. However, I totally just thought of something I need to try. Are the fingers compatible with the other Endless Waltz kits? Because they look the same, and if they do fit, that means they're oh yes! They fit! It's a little bit loose, but they fit enough for it to be customizable. So of course the question is, can this hold a Buster Rifle? Here's the moment of truth. Check that out. Compatibility like that makes me oh so happy. Last up then is the real grade. I've scaled this up to size so you can see the aesthetics of each one side by side as if they were the same size, so you can decide on the one you like the best. I've always liked this real grade, it's really good, even though it is an earlier real grade with that full pre-molded internal skeleton that can get loose over time. I've never had any issues with this kit whatsoever. It also has what I believe to be the basis for the wings that are on the Verka kit. They work well, the feathers are so much better than the old school 2004 Master Grade, and on the whole I like this kit a lot. Visually it's really nice for its size, but still I believe none of these kits are nearly as beautiful as the brand new Verka. So now moving on to the accessories, and here's the Master Grade Wing Zero EW Verka with absolutely everything that it comes with. So in here we do get a full action base, always nice. As for weapons, we've got the Twin Busters, as well as the Beam Sabers. Then we've got that shield, a whole bunch of adapters, the same swappable style hands we've seen with all the EW kits so far, and a 100th scale Hero Yui, which is in that iconic opening pose. I really have to hand it to Bandai. I love the fact that they're posing the little scale figures now. That is such a nice touch. I love it. So first up, equipment-wise in here is the beam sabers, and these are the most disappointing aspect of the kit. These are the exact same beam sabers we would have seen 16 years ago, but not as cool neon colored as those ones would have been. But the reason I don't like these is because they've got a massive seam line up their entire length. And it's such a big seam line, this is sharp enough to cut your finger. Also, cleaning up seams on a beam saber, not fun. When these are not in use, as usual, just pop the beam out and stick the handle then into this section here inside of the inner wings. This holds in perfectly and is not going to be going anywhere. Rotate fully at this point. Next up then here is the Twin Buster Rifles. These are pretty awesome, I have to say. Before I get into the awesome aspects of these, I will mention that there is nothing under that sticker there for the lens, so there is no clear parts for this, so that is a bit of a cut corner, I feel. These have a whole bunch of moving parts. We've got a tuck away and flip out handle like that right there. Finally, we've got this absolutely awesome gimmick in the rear end of this thing. We've got a flip out section that locks into place, has this simple set of pegs, and what this does is it works in tandem with a slot hidden in the forearm armor to lock it into place in a kind of 00 style double locking mechanism. So it's locked into the forearm and the hand at the same time for an unprecedented hold of the Twin Buster. How this holds up against them both connected, we're about to find out. Sadly, this locking into the forearm mechanism did not make this as straightforward as I hoped it would be. I've always had issues with the Twin Buster rifles on all of the other kits, and that's why I tend to not pose them with that. This kit does have a bunch of cool gimmicks to make it better, but in the end I felt it kind of failed for me. You can slide the chest forward to angle the arms a little differently, they pull out and forward like you're seeing right now, but no matter if I plugged the rifles into the arms or if I did not plug them into the arms, there was always some sort of an issue. Either with the hands detaching or the two rifles starting to spread out away from each other towards the rear end, it just never really worked out. This is what I got in the end right here, and honestly you could put this on your shelf and it would look fine, but you'd know deep down the shame that those hands are not actually attached. I don't know, there's something with the trigonometry involved here that it just never works out for me. If you have any tips or anything for anyone, any good way you find of connecting these together without some kind of adapter holding the end together, drop that down in the comments, I'd love to know. Next up then, here is the shield. This is extremely nice in matching colors up front. Round the back, there's a whole lot going on. We've got a flip out section up top, which is this yellow one. This has a bit of a cog mechanism built in, so if you move one of these fins in and out, it will affect the other one. And we've got a whole bunch of moving parts in here, and these are all to do with the transformation. But I mean, there is a lot of nice moving parts in here. Attaching this is incredibly simple. You just pop in this red fin here, and then this just simply slots over that blue armor. Make sure to bring it down all the way or it will pop off all the time. And this is extremely simple but extremely effective. If it's not locked into position, it will be easy to knock off. But if it is in all the way, it won't be falling off on you. As for the last gimmick involved in these, and this is unique to this particular kit, and that is you can lift up this section here and collapse the barrel backwards like this, pop in the handle like that. That then goes in there, and then finally the sight can move in like so into this collapsed form. These then just slot in under the wings as simple as this, and they hold in very well. This is a really cool new mechanism right here. I adore this. When you do get the same kit released over and over and over again in different formats, it is nice to see some nice new innovation. Once again, impressive. Next up in here is this handy dandy little adapter. Now what this is for clipping to the inside of the wings and then mounting them to its crotch. So this is for that big old wing shield cocoon thing that the Wing Zero can do, but this adapter really makes it a whole lot easier. This all fits together seamlessly, nothing gets in the way, and this is so solid it feels great. I'll also mention you're able to do this with the Buster rifles tucked inside of that armor, so this has been really well thought out. Honestly, I am really tempted to leave it like this for display. It looks great. So now moving on to the build and the articulation, and first speaking about the build a little bit. This took me about a day and a half to finish, and this was done and finished with only basic beginner technique. So that is a single snip off the runner with the God Hand Nipper, and just some lining with some standard pan lining markers. That is it. It still looks absolutely phenomenal, and I will mention that this completely owns the shake test. I shook the crap out of this, nothing fell off. The wings barely sag at all considering how small the arms are that hold up such huge wings, so under normal circumstances, I don't think it's going to fall out of any pose. This kit was really easy to put together and assemble, and it looks perfect out of the box, which means it is perfect for beginners. But at the same time, there's so much to this kit, so many individual parts, surfaces with incredible detail and layering, and parts coming through from other layers of plastic that this is a customizer's dream. So no matter what your level is from beginner to expert, I highly recommend this kit. There's only one thing I would say to take extra care with while building this kit, and that is the fact that some of the undergated nubs are lying pretty much smack bang in the middle of a seam, so they will need some extra attention so you don't end up with an open seam like this right here. First up, as for the neck, it's your standard giggity giggity goo double ball jointed neck, so it does everything you'd expect something like that to do. It's quite good actually. At the shoulders, we do have some opening machine cannons. That's what they're called, right? Yep, machine cannons. Close them up. The shoulder does have some moving segments in here. These are part of the transformation. There is the arm raised all the way up, so just above parallel. Once again, the entire chest on this can shift forward as part of the action to allow the arms to reach forward for that double buster, but sadly not far enough for it to nicely fold its arms. The chest can also spread out ever so slightly to see some of the inner mechanical detailing. That arm can spin all the way around. Full upper arm rotation. 1 and 2-point elbow bend. Extremely nice right there. Forearm spin. Fold away fin. Forearm slide. Ball joint wrist. Ball joint thumb. We've got a little bit of an ab crunch in here that somehow holds the weight of those wings. It may slide back over time. Yeah, if you shake it, it will slide back. But it does have an ab crunch, and it is quite strong. Nothing, however, to the back. Well, makes sense. Wings. The rotation is a bit limited, just from there to there, that is all. Ball jointed front skirting armor. The side skirting armor can move out a lot, probably part of the transformation, as well as up and down at that point. Very nice. We've got a double premium butt flap. One of you guys asked me about this, and I'm glad that you did. This is a very sketchy looking waist joint in here that's kind of reminiscent of what we would have seen on the Freedom 2.0. It feels a little bit more robust, but if you don't know about the Freedom 2.0, its hips are notoriously snappable. This gives us this very nice up and down, and combined with this section in the upper leg, that gives you a lot. That is very nice. This style of waist joint does mean that when you drop the leg all the way down, the rotation is kind of out and in as opposed to directly up and down. As for the kicks, there's the kick all the way up to the front. That is extremely nice because we've got a double premium butt flap around back. That means you get a nice kick out to the back as well. And as for the splits, it is not the full splits, but it's more than you could ask for. The leg on this kit is so nice, I actually had to take it off. Because this leg is so awesome, I had to demonstrate this. So first you have to pop this calf here to get extra articulation. Such a cool idea. But by bending the leg, first we get this cool split in the armor up here, which is ridiculously awesome. And then we get a full bend all the way around to there. Look at that. Katoki was not joking when he said he upped the articulation on that. Look how that has separated. This is the coolest leg on a Gundam kit I have ever seen, full stop. Once again, closing that all up, and then that slide at the top. Awesome. Close these up. Also, there's another one of those pesky undergates that I somehow missed. Be careful with those. We have another absolutely majestic panel around back here. We've got another panel on the back of the ankle. This doesn't really open up a lot of articulation like the other ones that we saw, but it's still pretty cool that they're here. The ankle is double jointed yet somewhat limited. We do have this little piece that moves up and down here. One very nice bend at the toe there, and the toe can point down like this. Now let's test it out on the ground. So without lifting the foot off the ground, what sort of ground poses can we get? That is it to the front. Toe is still connected to the ground. That is fantastic. Out to the back, that is all we can get. Of course, if you cheese it a little bit, technically, that toe is still on the ground there. Popping that back up, and there is the side to side, which is a little bit on the limited side, but I don't know, still pretty good. As for the wings, the first joint we have is this hinge right here. That leads into a peg. That gets us a whole 360 degrees of rotation. We've got a second hinge then up top, which goes all the way from there around 2. Whoa, there. Hope you can't even see that. This section up top is then attached via a ball joint, so that gives you everything a ball joint does. We then have another point of rotation right here. These wings can open up like we've seen multiple times in the review so far. Once again, a bit of a cog system in here, so all you have to do is pull open one segment. All of the feathers are on very tightly fitting ball joints, so these are not gonna fall off all over the place like the 2004 version. The lower wings can then move in and out on this hinge, rotate fully at this point, lost a beam saber, raise up and down at this point, and of course these can open up just like so. Beautiful. The articulation on this kit is absolutely phenomenal. The engineering in this is off the charts, and what can I say, you're gonna get any pose that you want out of this, but on the ground this is gonna need a little bit of support. Well, of course, the kind of same goes in the air, I guess. Anyway, onto the transformation. So as usual when I record one of these transformations, this is my first time doing it, just so I can remember any kind of difficulties, issues, or anything like that I had with it. This is definitely a difficult transformation. It's not entirely simple, at least the first time you do it. It is the usual way you do transform a Wing Zero. However, I do feel there are some elements here to mask the fact that this is just a Gundam lying on its front with its shield on the back of its head. This time around, it does look pretty cool. However, towards the end, I did get a bit of an issue with a bit of a sagging bird bill. So if you're building this and you find that your wing has a bit of erectile dysfunction up front, the reason is this piece clicks into place to lock the shield in position so it won't sag down like what was happening to me. Anyway, there's the full 360-degree spin of this particular variant of the Neo Bird mode. This is the outside atmosphere mode where the larger wings are tucked in underneath, and I think this looks pretty cool. Also, one of the most important aspects is this is solid and won't be falling apart on you. Very important. And finally then, to transform it into in-atmosphere mode, it's just a simple case of detaching the big wings from the bottom and flipping them around up top and giving them a bit of a spin. It's pretty simple. And finally, there is the spin of the in-atmosphere mode. It looks pretty cool, but I don't mean to be a contrarian or anything, but this to me looks a little less aerodynamic than what we were just looking at. But either way, those wings look gorgeous, it looks fantastic. And as far as flight forms that are just shield on the back of a head of a kind of crumpled up Gundam, this one is beautiful. Anyway, that right there is it for the review, and I thought this one was very difficult to gauge. Is this Platinum tier or is this Gundarium tier? Just as a bit of a refresher on how I rank these kits, Brown tier is rubbish, Bronze tier is below average, Silver tier is as expected, Gold tier is better than average, Platinum tier is as good as a grade gets, and Gundarium tier is when a kit no longer feels like that grade anymore. This one is difficult. Master grade has changed a lot. Actually, a lot of Gunpla grades have changed a lot. This has so much awesome going on. It's a solid, posable, detailed variant of one of the most iconic Gundams around. The only complaint I have about this is about the clear parts and the stickers that go over them, but then again, that isn't the worst thing ever. So in the end, I just had to go with Gundarium tier. What this kit packs in is ridiculous. Those separating armor parts on the legs, the realigning chest, an actual good Neo Bird mode transformation. This right here is the full package. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews. There's a link in the description if you want one of your own. And as always, I will see you next time. Once again, I cannot finish this video right here without thanking each and every one of you guys. Whether you just watch my videos, like them, or support the channel on the channel memberships and over on Patreon. Like Craig Jerry, Greg Humphrey, Kaiser721, Tyler Sanders, Caleb Engelhardt, Sean T, and the ambassador for Asymmetric Cat.